The year is 2552. Humanity is at war with an alien race known as the Covenant. We are losing. The Covenant have burned our worlds, killing billions in their genocidal campaign. Earth is our last bastion, a carefully guarded secret. But not anymore. That was my introduction to the more modern Halo game. Even though this is a fictional game, the beginning is quite confronting, immediately telling us how this differs from the previous games and quickly and quite easily bringing new players up to speed on the current happenings in the Halo universe. Some people might call it needless exposition, but it's really not that simple. Unlike the previous titles, we don't play as a Spartan, but instead an ODST. Oh wow, who could have guessed? For those who don't know much about the Halo universe, ODST stands for Orbital Drop Shock Trooper, basically the middle ground between your regular military men and the roided out super soldiers that are the Spartans. The introduction to the game is chilling, and is a great way to throw the player right into the world, catching them up on what's been happening and where we are. Thunder strikes as text scrolls, setting the scene on how badly we've been losing, while the music takes all the tones we know from games like Medal of Honor and Call of Duty to hint at the fact that these are stories of regular people trying to survive in the throes of war against a vastly superior alien race. Then we're introduced to the characters. Buck, Dutch, Mickey, Romeo, and Veronica make up the new team, while we play as the Rookie. This introduction is a strange experience if you're only coming from the perspective of the other games, since not only did the war end in the last game, but also that you aren't playing as the Master Chief or even another Spartan, just a Marine. Granted, you're still the best of the best, but without all of the super soldier serums and overpowered armor. Getting out of the pod and onto the street, you're met with the already pretty familiar gameplay that is Halo, but with a few minor differences. Instead of the meter at the top of your screen being your shield and only having one hit point, the bar at the top is your health, and instead of displaying the shields, you have stamina, which allows you to take a few hits before you begin to lose health. A few other things that are easy to notice in this title is that the guns fight you a lot more than they do in the previous game. Your melee does nowhere near as much damage, you can't jump as high, and you can no longer dual wield weapons, all feeding into the feeling of you just being a regular person. One major change you may have realized, because the game won't shut up about it in the beginning, is the new menu system. The 3D map is a really cool addition, if a little clunky and confusing. However, I've always thought of it as revolutionary, especially since I don't actually remember a game that had a system similar to this at the time this came out. It's difficult to put into words how well this game meshes together. Every part of it feels amazing. Even while you aren't as powerful as you were in the previous games, it all feels like it belongs perfectly. I'm sorry if you don't like this title considering all of the discourse that came along with its release, but I have no idea where you're coming from. The level design of New Mombasa is incredible. Everything feels like it belongs in a city while also flowing well for combat, giving you plenty of cover and places to dodge the Covenant that roam the streets. While you're walking around, you may also notice signs and detours with arrows guiding you, automated messages that seem to tell you directions, almost like the city is guiding you into specific locations, which it is. These hints are actually to help you find audio logs that tell you the story of what was happening in the city just before the Covenant arrived, and if you collect all of them, also gives you a unique interaction later on in the story. To combat the darker map and tone of this game, it gives you a brand new visor mode, brightening everything within sight, which comes with positives and negatives. In visor mode, you can see in the dark easily and can read hidden notes on the wall, but in the daylight or light rooms, be prepared to see almost nothing but a bright white screen, which will also be taken advantage of by the brutes as well when they deploy their flashbang ball things. Your exploration as a Rookie will take you to certain points in the city, allowing you to uncover the events that happened between the Covenant cruiser entering slipspace and the Rookie waking up after his 6-hour nap. You'll play as the other members of your squad as you try to regroup with the others and assist the local law enforcement in fighting the Covenant and denying vital information from falling into their hand. Exploring the city at night as Rookie is such a different vibe from the high-intensity moments during the flashbacks. During the night, you take your time following the signs, witnessing the destruction of a battle already lost. The neon lights illuminate the streets while fire and smoke fill the distant skies. It feels like uncovering a mystery, the sorrowful music only enhancing the feeling while trying to dodge or dispatch the groups of Covenant that roam the streets with the aim of eliminating anyone that still remains in the city. The way the flashbacks transition from the night segment fits really well, and each moment feels incredibly fun to play. If I had to point out missions that I love the most, those would probably be Kinzingo Boulevard and Oni Alpha Site. Both of these missions are what I would consider being the best example of this game's level design, taking the tight winding streets and apartment buildings and allowing you to use them to your advantage, to flank the enemies or find hidden weapons. There's also something so satisfying about driving through the streets of a futuristic city in an M808C Scorpion, and watching aliens disappear when you fire a 90mm tungsten-based AP-FSDS Sabot round. Yeah, apparently that's lore from like somewhere, but I don't know, man, I just play the games. While playing through the story, I don't think there was a single moment where any of the dialogue or character moments really took me out of the game. The voice acting from Buck is probably the best of all the characters and makes a really interesting lead outside of the voiceless main character. The relationship between Buck and Veronica feels believable, and while the ending felt a little fast in my first playthrough, on more recent playthroughs when collecting the audio logs and paying attention to the content inside of them, the ending makes much more sense. There isn't much about the music of Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore I can say that everyone hasn't already, but what they managed to do with the soundtrack of ODST transcends anything and everything I thought the Halo universe could have been up to this point. There's such an overwhelming sense of loneliness I get from each of the tracks that play when transitioning back to Rookie, but also a strange kind of peace. The track Deference for Darkness has got to be my main highlight of this game, not only because of how well it captures every emotion in the game, but also because of its symbolism. But I'm not going to act like that's the only song in the soundtrack that moves me to this degree. The Office of Naval Intelligence and Rookie are another two tracks that manage to mix the tense atmosphere and hopelessness so well, while tracks like Bits and Pieces can take what initially might come off as regular stealth music and change it into hope for a brighter future. Something else that's quite notable about this game is the soundscape as well. Along with the two new silenced guns, there's a ton of new sounds in this game. Something you'll always hear people referencing in this game is the rain. Things like the rain add so much to the game. Let me blow your mind for a second. According to the Bungie devs themselves, implementing rain wasn't possible due to hardware limitation, so the only rain that really exists in this game is the song. And that's a perfect example of how well this game sells the atmosphere. There's something to be said about how consistently outstanding all of the Halo games had been up to this point. Despite all the stress and issues they'd run into, Halo had become a household name, and was receiving critical acclaim almost every release. Regardless of what people want to say about ODST, this game is not just an expansion. Yes, it's a short game, and yes, it borrows from some of the core of Halo 3, but calling this an expansion completely neglects the intricately designed city, the soundtrack, and story. As they've said in the past, this was intended to be just an expansion originally until it grew so large that they just had another game on their hands. ODST was a new and refreshing look into the Halo universe, and it also set a tone for what would carry into the next title. But most importantly, this game showed everyone that Halo games didn't need Master Chief to survive. And it's that idea that would allow Bungie to create possibly one of the greatest titles in this franchise, and say goodbye to Halo as a whole.
Gamma Station, this is Fermi at RSO. Unconfirmed report of an in-system slip space rupture.
Impossible. Check your source.
Reading multiple pings below the orbital defense grid.
Oh, this can't be happening.
There's no mistake. It's them.
Winter contingency has been declared. All units are mobilized and ready.
This is Sierra 330, prep for combat insertion.
What the hell was that? We're coming in hot. Hold on. We just lost our bird.
Oh my God. What the hell is happening down there?
Down here.
They just dropped off my map.
Overrun. We'll hold this position as long as we can. I need you in that fight, Noble One. Noble One, come in. Noble One, do you read me?
This is Sierra 259. You got Spartans on the ground, sir. We're not going anywhere.